Alrighty, today we are going to continue with our signed mixed numbers to review for this week's quiz. Okay, so our objective today is that I will add and subtract positive and negative mixed numbers. I will give my solutions in simplest form. Remember, we are 7th graders. We need to make sure we are reducing into simplest form. All right. Also, let's take a quick look at this week. If you are watching this at home, you are most likely a C group. Okay, so today you are doing the reviewing notes video. And then Wednesday, you are watching this video. Thursday, you're going to do an online game. And then Friday is a quizzes video. Or not a quizzes video, a quiz on Cami to submit in Google Classroom. Now, Google Meets will not be me going over the quiz. I will take questions about any of the previous work or clarifications you need. You do not need to come to both meetings. Just one of them would be very appreciated. Only about 8 of the 45 of you have actually showed up. All right, so if you got back your quiz score in Google Classroom or in person, this is what you should get to get an A. For a B, a grade of a C, or a D. Okay, if you had anything less than 12, that was considered less than 50%, or not 50%, but less than the 60% needed. So if you had 59% or less, that was considered F on your quiz. I don't at this point think there was any. All right, you had homework to do, page 295. I did 1 through 3 in the video or in the classroom, so I didn't put the answers for 1 through 3 up here because you should have followed along. So if you need to pause this, check your homework so that you can see how you did. And then the bottom section, if you need to, pause it. And if you have any questions on how those answers came about, send me an email. All right, let's get to our actual notes. All right, you have notes that you can write in your notebook, or you can do it on the piece of paper as well. So we are going to add or subtract, and we need to write our answers in simplest form. So the first thing I want to look at, do they have common denominators? We'll have a 9 and a 9. So yes, I am good there. All right, so I know my answer is going to equal something with a 9. All right, so now I take my numerators and I add them. Well, 5 plus 8 is 13. And then I take my whole numbers, 2 and 3, and I add those. Now this is not in simplest form because we have a larger numerator than denominator. So that's an improper fraction in my mixed number. So you can do this using your long division. Okay, how many times can 9 go into 13? Well, that only goes in one time. Subtract your 9 and you get a 4. So we want to add a 1 to my 5. We're going to subtract 9 from that 13. And my final answer is 6 and 4/9. Okay, it's your final answer. Okay, if you need to pause that and catch up, do so. Let's go on to our next one. Let's go with a different blue. Once again, they have the same denominator, so I know my answer is going to have 11 on the bottom. Okay, don't need to change anything. But now I just need to add my 9 and my 5. So that is 14. And then add my whole numbers of 12 and 20 to get 32. Once again, we have an improper fraction. Okay, 11 can go into 14 one time. And then I need to take 11 away from 14, which is a 3. Keep my 11. So I have 33 and 3/11 as my final answer. Okay, if you have any questions on those, please send me a message for clarification. All right, let's look at 3 and 4. These are both subtraction. Now, if I have a whole number, that's not a mixed number. So I have to change it into a mixed number. And first I'll look, hey, that has a 15. And 15 out of 15 is a 1, right? So I really change it to 19 and 15 over 15. That's the same thing as 20 because that's 19 plus 1. Now I can subtract with my 8 and 7/15. Okay. Now if I go and subtract 15 minus 7, that gives me 8 over 15. And 19 minus 8 is 11. Now that is in simplest form, so we have nothing else left to do. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go with a darker blue. I might have to go with purple later. All right, they have common denominators. But can I take 4 away from 3? I cannot. So I got to do my regrouping. I need to change this 8 into a 7. And then because my denominator is a 5, I need to add 5 to that 3. So I really have 7 and 8/5 minus 2 and 4/5. Okay, so now I have 8 minus 4 is 4. Keep your fifths on the bottom. And then 7 minus 2, that is 5. And that's our final answer. No reduction needed there. Okay, if you need to pause this and catch up, do so. But now we're going to do some without common denominators, and we're going to have to make sure we pay attention if they are same signs or different signs. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of changing going on with some of our stuff. So let me add some other colors. Let's put in a purple. Okay. Well, it didn't put in my pink or purple. I'm going to change my white to a pink. We're going to change that green to a purple. We'll go with the dark green. All right. Okay, so I need to think in my head, what are numbers that 3 and 4 both go into? So I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Now let's think of our multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12. Oh, wait, there's a 12. There's a 12. So I want a common denominator of 12. So when I rewrite this, I multiply that by 4, and I multiply that by 3. And whatever you do to the bottom, you've got to do the top, or it's not the same fraction anymore. All right, so now I'm going to rewrite it. Remember, if they have negatives above, you have to bring that down with you. So that is our first one. Now plus a negative 9/12. Now I look, all right, same signs, add and keep. So I take a negative 17 over 12. Oh, wait, that's improper. We've got to fix that. All right. So 12 can go into 17 one time. So we make it a negative 1 for our whole number. Take 12 away from my 17 to get a 5 for the numerator. And I can still keep my 12 as my denominator. So a negative 1 and 5/12. Okay, if you need to catch up, go ahead and pause your video. Alrighty, so here I have 3/10 minus 5/8. So 10 can go into anything with 0. So I'm going to skip count by 8 until I get something with a 0. So I have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So I'm going to use 40. Okay, so that's 10 times 4. So whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do to the top. 8 times 5. And whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do to the top. So now we can go ahead and rewrite our fractions. Okay, and kind of separate it. So 3 times 4 is 12. So I have 12 40ths minus 15 40ths. Okay. Well, wait, I can't take 15 away from 12. So let's make it into adding the opposite. So now I can follow my integer rules. Okay. Same signs, add and keep. Different signs subtract, but keep the sign of a higher value. So I look, is 15 40ths greater or less than 12 40ths? Well, it's greater than. So my answer is going to be negative. I'm still going to keep a 40 on the denominator. So now I just need to subtract. 15 minus 12, remember you always subtract with the larger number on top, is 3. So I have a negative 3 40ths is how we came to that answer. Okay, if you need to, pause it, and then we'll go on to our last 2 examples. Okay, I've noticed lately not a lot of kids are gluing their notes into their notebooks because either they're not bringing their notebooks in to class. So if you have notes, please make sure you're gluing them into your notebooks. Okay, so when we get to trying to study for our unit test, you have those notes. Okay, so here we have 4 1/6 minus 2 3/4. So I need to find my common denominator, my least common denominator. So let's skip count by 6. 6, 12, wait, I know 4 can go into 12, right? So I would multiply by 2. Now you're only multiplying the fraction, not the whole number. And then this is multiplied by 3. So now I can rewrite my mixed number. Replace that with black. There we go. All right. So now I have 4 and 2 12s minus 2 and 9 12s. Well, here again, oh no, I have a larger denominator that I'm trying to take away. Okay, so you can do your regrouping. Okay. You know what? I think I messed up that other one. So we got to regroup. We're going to change this to a 3 and add 12. So 3 and 14 twelfths minus 2 and 9 twelfths. Okay, so now I have 14 minus 9 is 5, and then keep your twelfths. And 3 minus 2 is 1. All right, I want to go back and check something real quick. So if you have that, pause it. All right. Yep, I did that one right. Just double checking. Never a bad thing to double check your work. All right. Number 8, our last example. Once again, I don't have a common denominator. So 5 can go into any number that ends with a 5 or 0. So let's skip count by 4s. List all the multiples of 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. We're going to use 20 as our least common denominator. So I would have to multiply 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to multiply that by 5. I'm going to multiply this by 5. And I'd have to multiply 5 by 4 to get to 20. And whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do to the top. All right, so now let's rewrite our numbers. So let's switch to blue. All right, so 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 5 is 20. Keep your whole number. Don't lose that one. And then 8/20. So we have 15/20 plus 1 and 8/20. So now we can add. 15 plus 8 is 23 over 20. And then 0 plus 1 is still just 1. But we have an improper fraction. Okay, so how many times is 20 going to 23? 1 time. And then take 20 away from 23. So our final answer is a 2 and 3/20. Boom. Okay. All right, catch up with your notes, then glue them in. And then you have a worksheet of 9 problems. Okay. You need to evaluate each expression and then be sure to show your work. Okay, that means you need to be showing that you are making sure they have common denominators. If you are regrouping, you are regrouping. You are showing that you are simplifying your answer because it will always be in simplest form. Okay, so I'll help you set up number 1. Okay, there is nothing here. So we would have to change our 10. Then we also need to watch our signs. This is a subtraction. I want it to be adding the opposite. So when I go to rewrite it, I'm going to make sure to put adding a negative. Okay, so we're going to have to change this one to be a negative 9 and 8 over 8. Okay, so minus 5/8. Okay, all right. So now you're just adding. So you get 13/8. And then, because they're same signs, I had to keep nothing plus 9 is still a negative. But now you have an improper fraction. Okay. So then we can get a negative 10 and 5/8. All right. So that first one, did I really have to do this step? Not exactly. But I wanted to show you how you would rewrite it as a mixed number, even though it was a whole number. Okay. So make sure you're going through and on your subtraction problems. Now, 3, you are definitely going to need to rewrite that negative 3 so that you can take your 3/4 away because they're different signs. Alrighty? All right, good luck. If you have any questions, please email.